the Ethernet, and like only some people at a time could use it. Okay, am I live? Cool, I think I am.
Much faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, RHA was the people who got Wi-Fi in this building. So, next time you see the RHA
What's up?
Service, right? Now they need to get stronger. Now there will be breakfast.
Oh, this is weird. Let me know if you want to get started. Where'd you go?
Yeah, please.
I will be listening from right over there. I'll pop in like probably like a minute.
I don't think yeah.
What's up?
Oh, I got it at the bell tower today.
Oh, you guys today? Are they at like the table?
Sign in, get a donut.
Yeah, it was like at the bell tower. They were just like trying to follow.
You wanna
the page.
talk to an engineering PhD student? You stick around too.
Thanks for the advertising.
Oh yeah, you know. I gotta run my homies' programs. I'm a good coworker. I hope. Man. Oh, that's okay. I need this time.
Cool.
I'm right-handed.
Did I get your name, sir? What's your name?
Yeah.
Cool. What's up?
Outside world.
Hello. So what's up? What's up, guys? Live streaming. Thanks to Natasha for inviting me. You want me to like get started and stuff?
Go for it.
Okay, cool. So what's up, guys? Thanks for coming out. So Natasha invited me to like talk to you guys about like grad school, and I feel like I'm coming back to home because I was in engineering too. I was in E2. I feel like reminiscing freshman year, like hanging out with my friends, starting in the study lounge, like stressing over physics 40B and all that stuff.
Oh god,
And,
that's real. That's me right now.
So now my name is Andrew Sanchez. I'm a grad student here. I went to undergrad here, and then I'm doing my PhD now. And I'm a first year. So I want to know why you guys are here. That's because she dragged you out.
Like why we are here?
Yeah.
Or are we just here in D2?
Both. So why are you here? Like like are you interested in grad school? Thinking about it? Not so much, or you're thinking about it? Like what percent? Like 50%.
Like it's either grad school or the MSBS program.
Yeah, cool.
So,
The 4+1? Yeah. 4 of my friends are doing that right now. So right from undergrad and then doing it right now. So they're getting a master's in 1 year instead of 2 years. So that saves a lot of money. What are you interested?
Personally, I'm like 75% sure I want to get a master's.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm pretty interested in grad school.
Cool. Anyone else? Ish.
I'll weigh in too, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm pretty similar to Hannah in that. Since I really want to see if I want to try and go for a master's at some point.
Cool. So second question, why are you guys here in college?
To get a job.
Money, right?
yeah.
It's experience. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anyone else want to share anything? Yeah, go on.
So obviously there's a lot of family pressure, and there's no way you can deny that's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, pretty much everybody's family is like, oh, go to college, and that's a very real thing for everybody. Me personally, I didn't mind it. It was part of my plan anyways. So yeah, I'm personally pretty happy to be here.
Cool. Just to share this, my buddy said, my friend, he's already in grad school, and because he liked chemistry in high school. Just to share with you guys. So yeah, so we all have like our different paths. Real quick, can you shout your majors? Real quick, just curiosity. Engineering. I'm gonna be chemical engineering. Computer science.
Computer engineering.
Materials engineering.
Yeah.
Mechanical.
Cool.
We should just
So my undergrad major was chemical engineering. I started in environmental engineering, and then I thought about switching, and I did a lot of research my first year. Is that what you're doing too? So not to be biased, but it's funny because now I'm doing research in water quality and wastewater engineering. So I'm kind of like, my undergrad was very chemical engineering focused, but my core ideals are really like environmental mitigation and water quality issues. So pick and choose. I did research in undergrad with Professor Caselis, who's in material science. And yeah, so basically what I'm getting at is like, we're all here for different reasons. Maybe your parents force you to go to college. Maybe you want to start a business, you want to work for a company, you want to go to industry. So we're all here for different reasons. And freshman year, I was kind of thinking like, I'm like 25% sure I want to go to grad school. I'm like 75% sure I want to go to industry. So I'm kind of like the opposite of you. But with like social pressure and being more exposed to the classes and like seeing what kind of classes and like research is like, then I started getting more interested. So spring quarter, freshman, you guys are all freshmen, right? Most of you get the RAs and stuff. Yeah, so like by now you're already like maybe kind of getting used to like college and stuff. But now my recommendation is to kind of like take things a little more seriously. And so any of you guys like have a job or like got an internship lined up or research and stuff? Cool. yeah. What's oh, cool for the summer. Nice. Yeah, go ahead. Not really. No.
I have an internship at.
Oh, do you? Congrats. Yeah. That's awesome. Northwood is like really cool. So freshman year is still like pretty early, but now's definitely the time to at least start thinking about like, okay, what I want to do. So because I'm asking this, like I'm just wondering like what you guys want to hear from me. Do you have any questions for me, or do you just kind of like want me to like give my spiel? Because I can talk about myself for hours and hours. Like I have a YouTube channel, so I can do that. Damn. Spiel? Okay. So my spiel. So this is my first time I'm actually doing a graduate school like spiel. Usually I talk about. So let me kind of transition. Usually my spiel is more for like high school kids. Because in high school I was like really bad at school. And freshman year, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Freshman year I was like really struggling. Like I was like literally in that room like on these same tables like every single day. I was stressing the F out. I was like not gonna make it. I almost failed. I failed a bunch of like midterms, like Chem 1B. I failed the first midterm, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm failing now, and it's just gonna get worse from here, I'm probably not gonna even make it. But I just kind of like put the pedal to the metal, and I can talk more about that if you guys want. If you want to shift from grad school to more undergrad, but I just kind of put the pedal to the metal, work my butt off, join SHIP, join orgs. That really helped. Having like friends, my best friends, we have like 5 of us. So being in engineering, that's like the number one thing. Literally my 4 best friends, 3 of them, we were all in engineering together the entire freshman year. So we had like all the, freshman classes and then engineering classes. And then we picked up one over the years. So we're like this 5 people group that were just like core, like helping each other. So like we, studied together, did homework together, took exams together. And then the important part is like we like, have fun together because you gotta like relieve stress too. But anyway, so over the years, like I said, I was like really struggling. Sophomore year, so like if you're starting chemi, like chemical process in the fall, like that's gonna be like that kicked my butt like really hard because I just wasn't like ready. Again, even though I was like working really hard, it just like wasn't clicking for me very well until all the classes are kind of the same. Like the reason you take chem and physics and calc your first year is because pretty much every class has like all 3 of those together. So like thermo, you see like if you take it your sophomore year, junior year, has like literally chemistry and physics and calculus. And then fluids, yeah, literally like I can't think of a class that doesn't have all 3 of those. So in other words, you're kind of just like learning different little aspects of each class and then combining all 3 of them. So what math are you guys taking right now? What, 46? Yeah. I think 9B. I think I was taking 9C spring quarter, and now that one like really kicked my butt too. But anyway, yeah, like 46, like differential equations, like pretty much every engineering class has differential equations. And then like vectors, chemies don't have vectors as much, but if you take fluids, like fluids is just physics, moving water. Like every class, like, oh, you're mechanical, right? Right? Like, isn't every class basically like kind of combining fundamentals?
I could put every general education into lower dev, into upper dev, into tech elective, into like 3 categories. Like you're learning 3 things in college.
Yeah, honestly. And so like over the years, you know, it got better, and basically my grades improved. They still weren't like where I wanted it to be, but I definitely realized, okay, you know, maybe this college thing is my thing, and maybe this grad school is my thing. And so I started doing research. I started with Professor Walker because, like I said, I was interested in water quality, and she moved to Drexel. She was like super awesome, really awesome professor. She's super down to earth. I like could talk to her about any problems, whether it was like research or like, you know, I'm thinking about grad school. So she was like one of the first professors that like really motivated me. And then I started working with Professor Caselas, like I said. So basically over the years, like, you know, when you first start off into research, I can talk about getting a research position if you guys are interested in that. Are you guys interested in that? Okay, so I'll talk about that. So what I did, it really depends. So the thing about research versus industry is like the professor is kind of their own boss in their lab. So like it's up to them. However, if they want to have like an application, if they want to have interviews, but the way I've seen it, most of them in engineering don't really do interviews or anything formal. But in sciences, they seem to do. They seem to be a little more formal here. So you have to like, you know, send in a resume, application, interview. But for engineering, the non-CS-ish related ones, you guys are kind of lucky because they want people early on. So basically, for like CS, CE, EE, like they want people early on because you're an investment to them and you're like free labor, to be honest. What I did was I went on Google. Google's your best friend, as you guys probably already know by now, for classes and everything, right? And so I looked up, you know, UCR, BUCOE, chemical engineering, and I looked up like water, and then like the top 3 were these 2 who's I'm currently working with, and Dr. Walker, and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. All I did was like I sent an email, and then have you taken like CE 10 with Dr. Tam, the intro class, or have you guys taken like your intro classes, like, oh, what is engineering all about, that kind of thing? Yeah, so I remember one of the slides was like, one of the lectures was like all about professionalism. And we had a project, and it was like a very simple project, just like doing a research on like a chemical. It was like an oil-based chemical. And I said, good afternoon, Professor Walker. Like, I'm interested in your lab. I did this like little project, and it kind of really motivates me to want to keep doing work. Would you potentially be available to me in regards to applying for in regards to me joining your lab as an undergrad research assistant? Simple email. And she emailed me back in like the same day, which is pretty rare for professors. They usually like to put off. And all she said was like, wow, I'm very impressed, because this was freshman year, like literally right at this time, spring quarter. She was like, wow, I'm very impressed that you're a freshman and you seem very professional. And like she said, like, just for that, like, I'd love to have you. So I did a project with another grad student, and like we studied E. coli and spinach, and like that gave me a lot of experience, just like really simple things like pipetting. Like they don't really teach you pipetting very well until you take like OChem, and like there's like a little trick that I just kind of knew from research, and just little things like ordering chemicals, like things like that they don't teach you in like Gen Chem and like OChem and stuff. So that kind of like got my foot in the research door, and like, oh, reading papers, like you don't really read research papers until like your upper disc. So I was kind of reading papers my freshman and sophomore year. And then since I was like chemical at this point, I wasn't really sure exactly like, do I want water? Do I want chemical? Do I want materials and nanotechnology? Or do I want... So I was like, why not both? And then I found out that Professor Castella's had this really cool project where it was using nanomaterials for water treatment. And I was like, wow, that's literally like what I'm looking for. Because I was interested in the nano stuff, because like nano is the future, but I was still interested and motivated by water quality. And then I did research with him. So I did the same thing. I literally just emailed him, and he said, "Yeah, come by to a meeting. Like, we'd love to discuss." And so that's kind of how I got involved with like undergrad research. So I know that's kind of a lot. Did that kind of like spark any questions? Yeah, what's up?
So, what did you find fulfilling in research?
In research?
Yes.
So just like undergrad, research has like a lot of ups and downs because the way I see undergrad, like it's cool that you get to like learn all these cool things, hang out with your friends, but then like you have like really crappy times, like, oh man, dude, I got so much homework. And in research is kind of the same thing. Like you have all these experiments and you're like, oh yeah, I'm like a scientist now. But then sometimes just like, oh my God, I've been here for 6 hours and I still can't even get a single data point. Or like you spend like, it's like 8 p.m., you're done with your experiment and you're like, oh my God, I have to clean up. I just want to go home. So it's very like up and down. But that makes it that much more rewarding. It's like when you're like really struggling for weeks and weeks trying to get like experiments work, and then finally like you get your graph or whatever, like it's really, really rewarding. Kind of like if you like the CS majors, like when you get your code to work for the first time after you have like tons and tons of bugs, it's like that same like type of rewarding type of feeling. And coding versus industry versus academia, they all have their different nuances. So what I'm trying to get, like, at the end of the day, whatever I want you guys to grasp, just like the one thing is like, think about what motivates you and just kind of go from there. So you don't have to like stress too much, like, oh man, I don't even have a job. How am I going to get a visa? No, like you guys have three more years basically to kind of figure this out. So whatever you're interested in, like just watch YouTube videos, talk about with your friends. Like my friend, she's an environmental engineer, and like once you get her started on, you know, environmental problems, like she will not stop. She's working in Nicaragua now, and she's like helping on this project. She will not stop talking about, you know, like energy waste and compost, and she will not stop. So think about what you're passionate about and see like, you know, I can really make a difference in society, basically. That's kind of the whole point of research, basically. You're trying to study something that no one's ever studied before. Literally, you're like, you know, when you're taking classes, you're just replicating like previous experiments from literally hundreds of years ago, like making, you know, different solutions in what's it called? In like OChem and stuff. You're just like copying, you're just like replicating them. But when you're doing research, you're doing something that no one's ever done before. Whether and it could be anything. Like academia is this huge expansive variety of whether you're interested in like public health, like you want to save lives, you're interested in making like computers be faster, batteries, like I'm waiting for the battery to like when I don't have to charge my phone every single like 6 hours, you know, probably in the future, you know, maybe we can charge our phones like once a like week. That'd be cool. So there's like a lot of battery research. Oh, and the neuroscience stuff. Like if you guys are interested in neuroscience, they're always hiring engineers. There's like the brain is like this crazy computer. So if you guys are interested in like neuroscience, you can be like some kind of undergrad assistant. So just think about what interests you. And if you're not interested in academia, that can also give you a path towards like your job as well. So like, what are you interested in? Is it helping people? Is it saving money for a company? Is it, I don't know, like, that's like, to answer your question, like, I kind of went off track, but yeah, like doing something that's potentially making a difference. And I'm kind of like exaggerating, to be honest. Like you're not really making a difference if you're just, at least I didn't really do anything significant, to be honest, in undergrad, because, you know, I just kind of like put liquid in other liquid and then analyze the data. And like, it's like, okay, yeah, it's working. Okay. And then the project goes from there. But baby steps, you know, like research takes forever. And you're not really going to make a difference, or most people don't make a difference until they're actually, you know, professors. But just doing that stuff, just like being a part of that research phase is super, super rewarding. Just like, wow, I'm actually like doing something really cool. So good question. I like that question. Any other questions that came up?
How much time do you need to be willing to research?
Okay, so time management. Again, it really depends on the professor. So my sophomore year, I was a part of a fellowship. That's another thing. If you look for fellowships and scholarships, you can get paid. So I got like a couple quarters basically free just by working the lab. So that quarter, the minimum was like 10 hours. I think I averaged approximately like 14 hours per week, which to me back then that was a lot because like I said, I was like really struggling. But that's only like a couple hours per day. And if you want to do weekends or like a couple hours on the weekend, or some days, you have like Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. Then like my Tuesday, Thursdays were empty, so I just did research Tuesday, Thursday. So it depends. My other professor required like 15 hours. So you have to manage with kind of like a job. Like even during finals week, you still have to show up, or even during like week 10, you get like spring break and stuff off, but and during the summer too. So that gives you something to do over the summer. So in terms of time management, it's the same thing as classes. Like, okay, I have this, and this in the morning, then I'm gonna get lunch. I'm gonna study for this, and then I have discussion. Okay, I'm gonna do research from 2 to 4, and then I have lecture 6 or whatever. Then I'll get food, and then I can study. So like the same thing, but you have like that extra layer.
This is undergraduate research.
That's right. Yeah, so just like a job, and some people do research and a job and class. I didn't do that. That's like that's crazy. So, any other questions?
Compare now to your PhD last time. Like, what do you do now?
Okay, so literally today I was like, I like to make vlogs for fun. That's my hobby. And I was like, I haven't done a vlog in a while. So today I did a day in the life vlog, and I'm gonna edit it and post it. I can send it to you guys. And the way I realized was that in undergrad it was like mostly classes and then some research, but now it's mostly research and some classes. So I'm only taking 2 classes this quarter, and I think I should be done at least for a while. Like I'm pretty much done with classes, like for life, basically. I mean, people always say that, like when we were seniors, we're like, oh, this is our last midterm ever, and then we have like another, we have a final, and then like even when you're working, you still have to like take classes. Your company wants you to like learn. They say, you guys have heard of what's it called, lifelong learning, right? Yeah, that's definitely true. And the crazy thing about sorry to go off the tangent, but I guess it is kind of answering your question. Like when I was in undergrad, when you're in undergrad or in high school, it's like really, I didn't like it at all, because you're like basically forced to like do stuff. Like you have homework, you have chemistry homework, and it's like it's really boring. In undergrad, it's like a little bit better because you're choosing a major and you're only taking classes for that major, except when you have to like hit history and like stuff that but the thing about once I graduated, I graduated, and then it was summer, and I was like spending my time like reading like history books and reading like biology and reviewing my thermo and stuff. So like I spent more time, not more time, but like I spent a lot of time, my free time, studying, basically. And then during grad school, once I started, you're getting the thing about grad school, like not the number one, but like one of the most interesting forms of motivation is like I'm basically doing the same thing I did in undergrad, but now I'm getting paid for it. So it's like, hell yeah, man! Like I'd love to do that. It's like, because I like studying, I like reading about whether it's neuroscience or like thermo and fluids and stuff. So basically, it's like undergrad, but now you have a responsibility. So as a first year, my professor is a little bit on the lenient side because he kind of understands like I'm still taking classes, but I still have a responsibility. I still have to meet every week and present data and say like, okay, I think this and that. And yeah, so every professor is different. Some professors, like, they're super chill and they're just like, oh, like, see you in a month, get some data. And other ones, they like email you every day, like, oh, what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing? And so like depending on how you work and how the professor is, it kind of shifts. But this first year has been very similar to undergrad, except more research focused. To answer your question, I keep going off tangents because I think of all these things, and then yeah, yeah. What's up?
So, two questions.
Yeah.
The first is, undergrad research help you get into the PhD program, and did it help, like just in a practice sense? That's the first question. Second question: how do classes compare between lower devs, upper devs, graduate school?
Okay. Since I'm probably gonna go off a tangent, let me answer your first question first. So it was, did undergrad research help for my PhD? Okay. Yes, definitely yes. So to kind of have like some structure, basically you need like 3 to 5 things to apply to grad school. Grades, most schools require at least 3.0 if you want a good school, 3.5. If you want a top-notch school, you need 3.75 or 4.0 or above, depending on the school. But usually 3.0 is the minimum. And like I said before, since I was below 3, I was like thinking like, grad school is out of the question until finally I started improving. And then I met that minimum. Second is GRE. And for most schools, it was weird that for most schools I didn't apply, they didn't require minimum GRE, but UCR did. And just like how the SAT is kind of like that little subsection, I was stressing way too much because UCR required 300 points, and I got 299. So I was like, oh my lord, I don't even know what I'm gonna do, but I just submitted my application anyway, and here I am 1 year later. Third thing is letters of rec. So letters of rec means go up to your professor, say like, hey, I did this, I did that, I was in your class, I got an A. I'd really like it if you can write me a letter of recommendation. If you get one of those, that's very low weight compared to, Professor Casellas, I was in your lab for 2 years. You really motivated me to go to grad school. Can I meet with you in regards to writing a very strong letter? That kind of letter is much more strong and dense than a simple like, oh, I got an A in your class. Like, okay, you're one of the 300 kids. All right, you got an A, or she got an A. Like, so you really want to. That's your duty to make your connections. And it's one of the other key things that I love to say. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And those are like the 3 main things. Optional is if you have like an academic paper, if you went to conferences. The admissions people like love to eat that up. It's like, oh, they kind of know what they're doing. Or if you have like scholarships and fellowships, like that kind of stuff. But in my opinion, if I was a recruiter, all that stuff is garbage. All I really care about is like the passion. So that's the last thing is your personal statement and your research statement. So basically, it's kind of like when you apply to undergrad. It's like, what do you want in life, and is there something that changed you throughout undergrad? Like, what do you want to do with your life? And if you're so passionate about grad school, then it doesn't matter what kind of grades you have because you're gonna work hard to make up for that. And that's kind of like what I tried to do to kind of tailor out my application. So that's where things like working in a lab came in, and like being an officer. Like, it's great that you're already finishing up freshman year, or you already have that position lined up, and you guys like seeing that job and stuff. Like, that's so key because it's not just about like grad school isn't like working on math problems all day and like doing homework problems and like at least not in like science and engineering. The important things are like actual life skills, like talking to people, analyzing data, presentations, networking. Like, those things are very, very like poorly taught in education currently, and I would definitely focus on like stressing over that than stressing over like, oh my god, my finals at 8 a.m. tomorrow, I don't know this equation. Like, you're not going to use that equation, and even if you are, you have the textbook. That's what Google's for. You guys, what's that saying? Like, engineers are like Google masters or something like that. Like, I don't know, but like if we're in a different age, then just like, oh, memorize this equation, memorize this what's it called, mechanism, and like, it's not about that. Like, you need those stuff, you need those things because it's still academics, it's still the academic side. So don't get me wrong, like that stuff is very, very important for like fundamentally understanding your major and trying to solve an issue. But again, like, there's other things that you need in life that isn't taught in school, like like I said, like all those things before. So was that the first question?
Yep.
The second question was,
How does classes compare between lower devs, upper devs, and grad school?
oh, okay. Honestly, okay, I hate myself for saying this, but honestly, it's like, what do you guys think it is? Like, do you think it gets harder? I was like, okay, for me, it's like getting easier. So freshman year, I thought everything was like the hardest because like we're learning about like vectors and multivariable and like what the heck is a double integral and like Gauss's law? What is that? Are you guys taking 10B? Like that would like trip me up. I was like, what is a double integral? And like what is and you have to memorize all those freaking mechanisms in OChem and then and like calculus. Oh my gosh, freaking 9B killed me because like if you mess up one little sign, then that's like minus 20 points. So rather than testing on the integral, like they test on like the algebra. And I did the integral right, but I messed up the simple, the arithmetic. So like, in other words, like I knew calculus better than I knew like, adding, 3/5 minus 5/5. Like, is that 0 or, I would do those kinds of errors. But then in upper divs, so this is kind of how I see it. Like they're talking. Cool. So I've driven this little graph here. So kind of like let's say this is do like baseline. So this is like high school, right? And then like undergrad was like a big jump, right? So like let's say this is the 0, right? Makes sense? So like let's say high school is like what, like 5 times baseline, and then like undergrad, first year, this is freshman year, this is high school, and then this is a pretty big jump. So this is like almost twice as much. So let's say this is like an 8 or something. No, okay, so then this has like a 3. So high school is a 3. Okay, high school is a 3. This is like a 7, yeah. And then sophomore year was like a really big jump. This is like a 9. So like sophomore year got really hard for me. Okay, this is only chemi, and this is my opinion, so everyone's different. Because chemi has like chemical process, thermo, fluids, kinetics, and advanced thermo, and like all that stuff. Yeah, you just had it. But then freaking like junior year was like, yeah, it's harder, but it was like this much harder. So this is like a 9.1. So basically, junior year was just as bad as sophomore year, like a little bit worse. And then senior year, senior design was like a 9.2. So like it got a little bit harder, and then maybe grad school's like a little bit harder too. Okay, but so here's you guys are engineers, calculus. So this delta, right? This delta is huge, right? And this delta is also pretty huge, right? And then this delta is like nothing, So it's like, yeah, it's getting harder because for this I need all of this, but I already learned all of this. So does it make sense? So like from high school to freshman year, I was like struggling. Like I said, I was in here every single day because I didn't learn vectors. I didn't take AP physics. I didn't do any of that. Other people are the other way around. So other people, yeah, it's like they start off strong because they had the strong high school background. So yes, it gets harder because like senior year you have differential equations. You have your heat transfer. You have to do your mass balance. You have to do everything for chemi. And then like in grad school, yeah, it's the same thing, but I already took. So basically, I'm reviewing. Look, this year. Okay, so first year you have like chem, physics, right? And then sophomore year and junior year and senior year you have like thermo. This is for like chemi and ME and bio. We have like pretty much the same classes, but bio has like blood. I don't even know. That class seems really cool. I'm not gonna lie. Thermal fluids. And then your mechanical has your the CAD. So like you learn all stuff. So I'm just gonna talk about me. So thermal fluids and kinetics. And that's I can't spell it. So this is what I spent 3 years doing in undergrad: thermal fluids and kinetics. And these are all fundamentally rooted in chem, calc, and physics. So then like you just take this and then you just kind of like multiply it by like 1.5 or like something, or like 1.3. So basically, like it's 30% harder than undergrad. But I'm just reviewing the same thing. So this year I took thermal fluids and kinetics, but I already took that in undergrad. So it's like, yeah, it gets harder, but it's like we're just reviewing. But yeah, okay. So don't get me wrong. Like you go into more theory and like you go into like, oh, that's where this equation came from. You do all these derivations. So this is my opinion. This is a very, very, very unpopular opinion because from what I hear from everyone else, it goes like this. It goes like that for grad school. And like grad school is like way at the top in terms of the academics. In terms of the research, that's completely different. In terms of the research, because in grad school you're focused on the research. The research is, you're in the lab like all day, basically. I'm not quite there because I'm still taking classes, like I said. But let me see if like my friends in grad school, I want to see, but I thought grad school class concepts were harder than undergrad concepts, but the classes and professors were easier. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's one key thing I was forgetting. In grad school, they don't give a single crap about grades. Like pretty much everyone gets straight A's, as long as you do the homework. Maybe that's why I think it's easier. It's like my grades are better. Like, I've never seen that many A's in my life, and like yeah, it's definitely harder. Like not gonna lie, like I said, it's way more theory, way more advanced concepts. Like I'm taking this one fluids transport basically. So transport is basically like fluids, and I'm like what it's basically pulling like every single major from like physics, math, like advanced differential equations, and like the thing is, the craziest thing of all, there wasn't a single exam. All we had was a presentation and a project. And in my opinion, that's the perfect way to assess one's ability, rather than a 50-minute exam. That's just like way too fast. Whereas a project, real life, you don't have exams. In real life, you have projects and presentations. So in my opinion, that's like way better assessing. But yeah, basically like this is my one opinion. Talk to other people. So from now until graduation, talk to other people. Talk to Ryan. Like his opinion is completely different than mine.
Except for the fact that
yeah. So like talk to other people, and then when you get into undergrad research, there's gonna be 5 or 6 or 10, or maybe 15 other grad students that you can talk to and get their opinion. Ask your TAs. They're all grad students. Ask your TAs like, hey, do you recommend grad school? Many of them would say no. So far, I definitely recommend it because it's just like basically what you guys are doing now, but with free money, basically. Great question. Any other questions? So in regards to networking, side note, like I'm a big, huge advocate for networking. So after this, I'd love to like connect with you guys. You guys need a LinkedIn. You guys need like professional pictures. You need all that. Are you telling me? Yes. Thank her because that little edge. Because like I said, just because I had my freaking your R-mail, I put my picture up, and just from that, she was like so impressed. Like I said. Like, oh, you seem so professional. You have your picture up, and you're just a freshman. I'd love to meet with you. And just from that, that's how I got my foot in the door. Literally, the simplest thing. Just put on a shirt and tie, or and take a simple picture, and that gives you that extra little edge. That's so simple that other people won't have. And excuse me, networking, like LinkedIn, and just like talking to people. I'm your network, and you can connect with like 10 of my friends. They wouldn't mind. Sharing their exact their story. So like just message me, hit me up on Facebook or whatever. And say like, hey, I like to learn from other people. Like my other friend, she does this kind of stuff too, and she's all about networking as well. So I'm gonna like tell her like, if you'd be down to like share, if she'd be down to share her experiences with you guys. It's all about network. Like it's not what you know, it's who you know. Right?
Yeah.
Thank her for like. So, did you get them LinkedIn?
Had them like
Awesome.
Put on like the skills.
Yeah, the
like,
skills.
Like,
Endorse.
skills.
Awesome. you're look, again. Like I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Like the people on this couch, that's your network for life. Like you guys, ingenuity. Like I still have my group chat with like 20 of us, and we just like randomly like, oh, did you guys see the? I put in the chat today. Did you see the black hole? The first real image of the black hole. You guys saw that, right? Yeah, that's cool. So like we just kind of hit each other up, and like I said, we're just like always connected. And then graduation is that much better when you get to sit with your best friends, like, and you guys are like bonded for life. Do you have a question? No? Yeah, sorry.
No.
Okay, cool.
So would you say like what professors want to look for is someone and it's like this person, I can talk to this person not just about engineering stuff, but about life and other things, and I can work within the next 6 years.
Exactly. So everyone's different. First of all. But most people, okay, contrary to popular belief, professors are people too. And people love to talk about themselves. So as soon as you get that first interview, as soon as you get that first meeting, that first Skype call, just like say like, your passion is my passion, my dude. Like, I love what you've been doing. I want to do that for the next 5 years. I want to do that for the rest of my life. So I had this interview with a professor from UCLA, and basically he was like super young. He was just starting his professorship, and all they did was like just ask me questions. And what turned out, we just organized like a 15-minute meeting, and it turned into like an hour and 45 minutes, just because he kept like talking about like what kind of research he does, and I got to learn so much from him. So if you can just talk to people about like what they do, then they'll like go on and on. On the other hand, like other people, they're really like career oriented. They're very career focused, and so they just want to talk about like they don't care about like what you did on the weekend or anything, and that's cool too because you have to keep it professional. Yeah, good question. I like it. Make sense?
What was your favorite thing about living in
Ingenuity? Gosh, I like, you know how they say like, college is either like the best or the worst, time of your life? Ingenuity is like definitely like the best, like experience just because like you're all just like hanging out, doing the same thing. Even though academically it was like the most stressful, for some reason I just had like this deep emotional like attachment to like ingenuity and just like, talking to people and so random. Like you just like walk down the hall and someone's like playing music or like, I don't know, you guys do those crazy things like on April Fool's, like they took my friend while he was napping, they lifted him from the bed and took him down the hall. And like, I just walked in the hall and like, what are you guys doing? Like that kind of stuff. Like to me, that was hilarious. So yeah, just that kind of stuff, like just being with your friends and, take advantage and record videos and like save those videos. Use Google Photos because I lost a lot of footage because I didn't know about Google Photos.
You still talk to your RA and your C or
we're friends and stuff on Instagram and Facebook. So whenever I see her, like it's like comment or whatever. So kind of, But you could talk to Natasha. She's your network.
Well, a lot of these people are actually students.
Wow, awesome. See, there you go. Congrats, guys. Like, I freaking love that. That's there you go.
Welcome to the LC.
Yeah. So I'll probably be seeing you guys a lot for a while because, like, I'm always talking about Sui and Iki and shit people and stuff. And yeah.
How did clubs impact your undergraduate career?
Clubs, orgs. So, like I said, I don't think grades are a good way of assessing. The way I changed, like yes, I learned academically, but the way I really changed, what I really learned about life was like being involved. I was in SHIP, so I was like, first I was secretary, and then I was outreach, and then I was academics. And by doing those things, Like you really build character. You really learn how to like do these presentations. Like 5 years ago, doing this for me, like no, I could not do this because I'd be too nervous to just talk to you guys. But just doing this every week or every month, it just becomes second nature. And that those kinds of things, just doing these simple things like this. Some say that it's selfless because like I'm talking to you guys, but for me, I feel selfish because I love doing this. It gives me motivation to keep doing what I'm doing. Because by me public speaking, I'm practicing just that little bit, just these 45 minutes today, and that's gonna help me next week when I talk to my group and my professors. So just like really taking advantage. Like, don't give a crap about what people think. Just ask the question in class. At first I was like, I don't know if I should ask this question, and like I'm gonna seem dumb. Like, first of all, you're not gonna seem dumb because 90% of the class has the same exact question. Second of all, even if it was a dumb question, literally no one's gonna remember. Literally no one's gonna remember. So just take advantage of if you think you might have a question in class, you think you might want to answer a question in class, or when you go to meetings and they say like, oh, who wants to share something, just like be the first person to raise your hand, because take advantage of those little experiences. Because think of it like a video game. Like if you want to, you guys play like I played a lot of RuneScape back in the day. So like just get that little XP, because like when you get that little experience every single time, it's gonna build your levels up, and kind of like that. So definitely ship really like and you learn everything from like, oh, how do you talk to people that you want to punch in the face without like seeming like you want to punch in the face, and like how do you make presentations and like events. Raise your hand if you're doing the BC day. Like, okay, perfect. You guys should all do it. It's not too late to sign up. You guys need to all do it. Things like that. Just talking to kids. Oh, if you want to get over your fear of public speaking, talk to little kids, because they don't give a crap about like what you say to them. They're gonna love it no matter what. Talk to kids. Talk to kids, and like that's gonna like completely alleviate those feelings. And like even again, like just by walking through this door and just talking to me, like this is this edge. You guys have this extra edge that no one else has by talking to other people. Ship is awesome, especially Ship Nationals. Yeah. The career fair is the best. I'm reading the someone is my friend is watching it. Thanks for watching. I think my mom was watching too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
What else? So yeah, any other questions? Yeah.
So, you and your friends who did go into graduate school and post-grad stuff, do you think that there's anything different in particular versus the people who you knew and your friends with who didn't?
In terms of like their personalities
or mindset, or
okay. So why go to grad school? I'm like hyping up grad school because I think it's like this amazing thing. I don't think it's for everyone. And to be completely honest with you, I think it would have been better if I worked in industry for 2 years before starting my PhD, because I feel like I'm missing a lot of not the fundamentals of the science, but just the fundamentals of the research itself. Because I kind of had to like learn from books, like, oh, in industry they do this in wastewater treatments. In industry they have this, and like I haven't really seen that exposure. So definitely think about your path, about what you want to do. But in terms of my friends, like what they're doing, some of them like they don't care about research. They just want to like be a part of a company, make a lot of money, and like that's cool. Like that's totally there's no stigma against academics or not academics at all. So like don't feel pressured to do anything like that. But definitely like what I'm trying to get at is think about what your like core fundamentals are. If you're motivated to like, hey, there's this problem out there in the world that no one has solved yet. No no one has done this, and why not? Is it impossible, or I'm gonna be the first person to do this? Like, so yeah, just kind of think about your own like motivation and stuff, because again, you're doing something that no one has ever done before. And in regards to the motivation. Sorry, did you have a question?
Wait.
No, go ahead.
What does making the most of the college experience mean to you?
To me, cheesy as it is, work hard, play hard. Work hard, play hard, because you guys ever see the movie Stand and Deliver? Yeah. So basically, in a nutshell, the kids, they're in high school, they're like freshmen, and they have like third grade math. And by the end of the movie, they all got fives they all passed the AP calc test, and most of them are like engineers to this day. And like that kind of thing is like the kind of thing that I like to live and breathe, because it's like, yeah, I'm not the smartest kid in the class. I'm not, there's 300 kids in the freaking chem lecture. Like, I'm probably like, how they show the bell curve and you see your grade, and it's like, the average was 75. But how many of those kids are in grad school? And I'm the one that's standing here talking to you guys to this day. So, and don't get me wrong, like they have their own goals and motivation as well. But what I'm trying to say is, like, even though I was at the bottom of the bell curve for a year and a half or 2 years, I made it my goal, my dream, my duty to really live up to my own. And I'm not gonna lie, I did have like social pressure, as what was his name, Theo was saying, from my mom and my family, because I'm like first generation, like that kind of thing as well. So I did have that kind of familiar pressure, but still, like that's kind of what really drives me to be the first, to be the one that's like saying like, hey, I got really bad grades freshman year, but now I'm like here today. So, and at the same time, work hard, play hard. So you're human at the end of the day, so you have to make time for like, you're working hard for 4 weeks, and then get your midterm, you're done with your midterm, like, hey, let's go out to eat, let's go watch a movie, or let's go to the beach, or do all those, crazy college kids these days. Great question. And like, again, the motivation is like, it really just makes it that much more impactful when you get that phone call, when you get that email, when I got that Skype interview, that email, when I showed my mom, like, hey, Andrew, this is your letter, this is your package, this is how much money you're gonna have. Welcome to grad school. And it makes it so much impactful. You get that email, and you get to share it with your friends, with your family, and like it's just this deep, powerful connection. So that's what I mean by making the most of college. Like doing all these things that it's tough, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be worth it. You have to like find that little nugget in the haystack, but it's gonna be worth it, whether that's industry or academia. Yeah. We just about done?
Yeah, we're just all done.
Cool. So like I said, this is live stream, so you can check out the link and then check out my other videos, and then I'll do the day in the life. I'll like edit that, and then like I'd love to network with you guys, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, and be happy to answer any questions. And if you have any recommendations for videos, I'd love to hear recommendations for videos. Like Taja, like thanks for having me here. Like you're awesome. Like BCD is gonna be amazing this year, and I just love being back in Lothian, because like I said, it was like the time of college for me. So thanks everyone, appreciate it. Cool. And thank you for watching.
What's your name?
What's up?
Did you live stream that?
I